Hey there, guys. Coach Michael, Burt. Welcome to another episode of Good Coach, Bad Coach. Secrets the great coaches know that the others never figure out. I ask myself this question all the time. Man, I just had a conversation about it after one of our workshops about how bad most managers and coaches are. And this is real simple. They just don't know. So this show, Good Coach, Bad Coach, teaches you the secrets, the habits that great coaches know that others never figure out. Why there's so many bad coaches in the world. Here's the deal. There's no school on the go on how to be a good coach versus a bad coach. So what we do is repeat patterns. We do what other people do. We have ego that leads the way. We never learn and grow, and we just keep getting the same old success over and over and over, and we end up being mediocre coaches. You know what's interesting to me about coaches is how blind they are to their own contribution. Just the other day, I was talking to a coach, a very mediocre coach. And he said to me, you know, Coach, I've been a successful coach my whole life. I had all these winning seasons. I only had a couple bad seasons. And I was sitting there thinking, is this the same coach that I know, that I watch coach, that was just a mediocre coach? But in that person's mind, oh my goodness, you would think they were John Wooden. You'd think they was in the Hall of Fame on how many games and wins they had. There's a lot of bad coaches. So today, here's what we're talking. The topic is championships are won in the off season. There's a couple phrases that you hear me use a lot. And specifically, this one relates to your off-season programming. There comes a time when winter asks, what did you do all spring and summer? There comes a time when winter, the season, asks what you did all spring and all summer. You see, at the end of the year, lots of coaches are tired. They're fatigued, rightfully so. They've been working 80 hours a week, and they're just mentally and physically and emotionally exhausted. So they turn their kids over to other people, AAU coaches. They turn their kids over to personal trainers. They turn their kids over to these things, and they miss a valuable opportunity to build the body, mind, heart, and spirit. You see, we see the off season as a necessary evil, as a drudgery, when you should be seeing it as this is when we're going to get our advantage. Just like in the business world, when people say, oh, people don't buy houses in January and December, and these are off periods. Our business is cyclical. This is a down time. That is exactly when you get an advantage. So when you think about the off season, I want you to think about a period of time that is ramping up emotionally and psychologically for the season. Just like I see college as a preparation period. It's a preparatory period. You prepare to perform. Off season is a period where you go to work on the deficiencies of you, your staff, and your team. Let me say this again. Off season is a time that you step back and you do a serious bout of reflection. So the very first thing I want you to do if you're in off season is I do want you to take a break. I want you to get away from the sport. I want you to go to the mountains. I want you to go to a cabin. I want you to go to the ocean. I want you to go have fun. I want you to go blow it out. I want you to get all that tense stress and pressure. I want you to go on sabbatical. You see, and I did this at the end of every single season. So I'd take a break. I'd decompress. I'd let my mind get right, my heart get right, my spirit get right. Then I would go through a period of reflection. What did we do? What did we do wrong? What did we do right? What did we have fun doing? What mistakes did we make? What failures did we have? What successes did we have? And here's the biggest thing I'm asking. What is the biggest missing structure that we have to fill this off season? Then I would meet with my coaches and I would plan a very strenuous off season. I'd say our team is not emotionally tough enough. We have got to build mechanisms to get our team tougher in the offseason. Our team is not strong enough. We've got to increase our weights in the offseason. Our team is not fast enough. We have to increase our speed. Our team is not together. We got to work on our togetherness. Our people do not have enough grit and trust with each other. We've got to spend the offseason building these things. You see, I believe the time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining. That means you go to work. When things are not working well, you don't wait for them to break down. You fix them in the off season. You ramp up. You do things in the off season nobody else is doing. And here's the worst thing you could do. Do the exact same thing you did last off season. Today on Good Coach, Bad Coach, I'm teaching you the mindset of a championship coach, of a good coach, and how they find and fill missing structures in the off season. First thing you got to do is you got to get your mojo back as the coach. Go back and listen to last week's show, because if you ain't got your mojo back, you're tired, you're frustrated, you're agitated, you're irritated, you didn't have any time off, you're not refreshed, there's never a stop and there's never a clear start to a fresh and new season. Man, I wish I had somebody tell me this stuff when I was coaching. You're listening to Good Coach, Bad Coach. Come on back in the second segment, and I'm going to show you some specific things to do in the off season, so when the winter and the season comes around, you are 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of everybody else. Hey, this is Coach Micheal Burt, and I have a prediction. Within the next 5 years, every manager in the world will have to become a coach. You know, a good coach will do 3 things for you. They make you have conversations you don't want to have. They make you do some things you don't want to do. They'll help you become something you didn't think you could become. This transition, what I call the coaching revolution, prompted me to create a program called Turn Your Managers into Coaches. What we want to do is drive up engagement, drive up production. We want to become a manager other people want to follow. If you've got managers out there that you want to turn into coaches that engage people in systematic behaviors that allows them to do something tomorrow they simply cannot do today, pick up the phone and call us, 225-8380, 615-225-8380, or email us at info@coachburt.com, and we're going to teach you how to turn your managers into great coaches. Welcome back, Good Coach, Bad Coach. I'm the Super Coach Micheal Burt. Follow me at Micheal Burt. You say, what if qualifies me to teach this class or do this podcast every week? You can get on Stitcher, on iTunes, Podcast Republic. I was a championship coach. I helped to build a culture that had never won at the highest level. It took it to the highest level in a 10-year period. I have studied what great coaches do. I have counseled and consulted some of the top coaches in the country. I've also written books called The Anatomy of Winning with Rick Insell, Changing Lives Through Coaching, The Inspirational Leader. Good Coach, Bad Coach is a book that I'm working on. 10 secrets that great coaches know that the other people never figure out. I'm passionate about coaches. I believe everybody needs a coach in life. I believe within 5 years, every manager in America will have to be a coach. And so this show teaches you how to be a good coach versus a bad coach. Now that I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, the last thing I want for her is for her to have a bad coach. Coaches are markers. They're significant influences, the significant impactors of our young people. And so we got to become good coaches, right? And so here's the thing that we're talking about today. How do you have a championship offseason? How do you understand there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer? What do you do in the offseason? Well, what I said in segment 1 is you step back and you decompress. You get your mind right, your heart right, your spirit right, your self back ready to coach again. It's so exhausting. I get it. Take some time off for yourself. Then have a clear line in the sand of when you start back. Ask hard questions. What can we do different? Most coaches spend all of their time blaming their players. Oh, if she just get tougher. Oh, if they just do this. It's your job to get them tougher. It's your job to make them leaders. It's your job to help build trust. It's your job to build a cohesive unit. It's your job to build a team. So when you spend time in off season, I want you to diagnose your missing structures. I want you to come back with a real plan. I want you to create a theme that has an emotional pull. I want you to create a path of what you're going to do. 6-week, 7-week, 8-week cycles. I want you to take it right up to the next season, which is summer camp. I want you to have a plan to get through summer camp up to fall, where you're preseason conditioning, you're lifting, all of those things. And here's a big thing. I want you to understand about how a team peaks. See, early in my coaching career, I would work my players so hard in the off season. We would go to summer camp and be years ahead of everybody else. We'd be running full court offenses and defenses and presses. We were in end of season form before the season even started. So my team would start off, they'd do great, then they'd get tired. You know why? Because we started back way long time ago. Then I started to figure out how to pace our team. How that summer camp we needed to be really good, but we really didn't need to be as good as we could be because we needed to get better through the fall and get stronger in the winter and be ready and not tired. The worst thing you want to do is get to the very end of the season in the tournament and have everybody exhausted. They're ready for it to be over. They're ready to stop playing. So you got to understand that the way you set up your off season could cause your team to peak too early. Peak mid-season because they've been going for so long. So there's a balance between this ebb and flow of work, this ebb and flow of lifting, ebb and flow of pushing. Off-season is a time to teach. It's a time to strengthen. It's a time to build relationships. It's the time to attack your weaknesses. It's the time to go to work on everything that's causing you to lose. It's a time for you to fix the roof when the sun is shining. See, you don't have the pressure of the season in the off season. So you have to create a sense of urgency. I like countdown days, 5 days of this. We did Red Dawn in the spring summer practice, which was 14 days of pure hell at 5:30 in the morning. Come in at Red Dawn. We had the t-shirts. You graduated from Red Dawn. You survived. Create a little season right there for 14 days. The point of this lesson tonight on Good Coach, Bad Coach is the offseason is so critical. If your team lost last year, it's most likely because you did a pitiful job in the offseason preparing for the season. This offseason, I challenge you as a coach, get your mind right. Go to work on the body. Go to work on the mind. Go to work on the heart. Go to work on the spirit. For some of you coaches out there listening, the problem's not with your team. It's with you. You're not changing. You're not adapting. You're using the same offense you used 15 years ago, and it did work 15 years ago, and it did work this year to a point. I hope you're listening to me. I know your ego's there. I know your pride's there. I know it's your system. But some of the greatest coaches in the world had a system that they adapted to based on their players and their personnel. I remember my first couple of years of coaching, I made up my mind that we were going to run the triangle offense, just like the Chicago Bulls. Hey, great. Only problem is I ain't got the Bulls players. So I spent 3 years teaching an offense that was too complicated to my players. By the time we did get it, most of the players that started it had graduated. They didn't even understand it. You know, and so my point was I was so hell-bent on running a system that didn't work for my team. And by the time they did get it, it was too late. By the time we got good at it, I was ready to move on to another offense. So my point is simple. Sometimes we're the problem as coaches. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. Get your philosophy. Get great at it. Adapt and adjust. And remember, off-season is when championships are won. What are you doing different this off-season than you did last off-season? I'm Coach Micheal Burt. Pick up a copy of This Ain't No Practice Life. Hey, pick up a copy of Anatomy of Winning or one of my books. I got 10 out there in the market. Pick up a copy and go out there and quit being a bad coach, man. You got more potential in the tank. You got the goods and people are counting on you. I'm a super coach, Micheal Burt. Come on back every Sunday. BurtNetwork.com. BurtNetwork.com, or listen to me on Stitcher or iTunes. Good Coach, Bad Coach. Everybody needs a good coach in life.